Hey, welcome back. Welcome. We've got mail. Did you guys hear? A phone call has been released. Sarah Boone, yes. We went live last night. Shout out to Hear Me Out, Suma, and X Derek. Lol. We went live. I literally had just got home, walked in the door. I was doing a multitudinous amount of things. I was in and out cooking, taking care of the little humans, doing things around the house, but I was peeking in and out of the live and listening to Sarah talk to someone named Michael. Now, the call is here on YouTube if you guys haven't heard. And Sarah's getting ready for her apology. She's speaking and she's like, I'm going to forgive the judge. I'm going to forgive the jury for their rush decision. I know they were hungry and they had the wrong information, so I'll forgive them. And she's talking about George and her, their first date, the first time they met. Weren't we just talking about that on live? Where they met at Devaney's? Well, Sarah goes into graphic detail. Let's get this party started. So you click on the video and it starts off with this stealthy music like welcome to the Boondocks files. So it's like welcome to the Boone's Farms files, and the call begins. Sarah's like, hello, you there? And he's like, yeah, I'm there. Okay, that was my free phone call and we only get 5 minutes on Sunday, so thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience. I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. The letters. Sidebar. And right now, Sarah is preparing for her sentencing golden apology. She wants to make sure everyone has submitted letters and her sentencing is perfect. So, the letters. So anybody I had asked, I told them to send it to you, and I don't know if they did that. I told them to send it to James, but I don't know if they did that. I told them to send it to James, but I don't know if they did all that. So I was in my head going to like triple check just to make sure that it's all there. I was just going to do that. And James, he's notorious for losing things. I don't know if you know, but we've had to send him stuff hundreds of times. Are you able to like print stuff out and hand it to him in court? Remember, James is supposed to be here today. I don't know what he's doing. He's not answering his phone to this present moment. I tried calling him 3 times from yesterday and today, and I don't even know if he's supposed to be here. But my goal, yes, if you want, I can call you tomorrow about 1 o'clock. And the guy, he's like, yes. Sarah just cuts him off. She doesn't let him get a word in edgewise. I also wanted to know, are you going to track his ass down while you're here tomorrow and introduce yourself? And ask him what the beep is going on? And I'll be there. I'm going to be in the court too, and tell him, go over there and introduce yourself. And the guy butts in and he's like, yeah, and try to talk to him. I'll ask him to see what's going on with the family law thing and, everything else. Yeah, yes. This is December 1st, 2025, the day before Sarah's sentencing, and she's already trying to pressure James about the family law case, or has people on the outside to do it. She had her mind on the family law case at sentencing. She was ready to switch gears. Next victim. Reject. So he's like, yeah, ask him what's going on with the family law case. And she's like, yes, yeah, ask him while you're in his face. Yes, totally in his face. Totally, please take advantage of his time, because after this, it's like, peace out. She's saying after sentencing, peace out, Boy Scout. Once I'm sentenced, it's like, peace out, so... And he interjects. He's like, yeah, I understand. She's like, okay. But he butts in and he's like, how are you feeling? What's going on in your head? I'm not really nervous. I'm actually really confident, especially with the amount of people I have coming to represent me, either in letter and email or in person. I wanted to talk to you about my statement and what you sent me about the judge being able to cut me off or interrupt me. Case relevance. I'm going to talk about my case. This is what made me think the call was real. I'm going to talk about forgiveness of social media, George Torres, my 3 prior attorneys, both judges, the jury, and myself, the prosecutors and the detectives. I'm going to forgive them all. So I didn't know if it was too much, but I read it to Lana and she was freaking floored and she said, keep going, don't stop reading it. And if he does stop you, it'll be an appellant issue. But I don't want him to stop me, and I'm on a flow, And then him say, you can't read that any longer. Sidebar. So Sarah knew her golden apology was going to be inappropriate or explosive at least. And Lana egging her on with the foolishness. So I'm starting off with forgiveness. It's forgiveness. And I'm starting off with George Torres. I'm forgiving him for, and she lists what she's forgiving George for. We know those things. For beating me, for hitting me, for beep, beep, beep. All that. I'm forgiving him for all that. But none of that was actually brought up in my case. So I made a list. I made a list of it. A list of some of the things I've forgiven him for, okay? And the guy, he says, okay. My second one is going to be for his family, for not intervening and helping and knowing who he was, and to throw out there Pharrell and what he did, stabbing this mother of his child in the side of the head, just to throw out the violence in their family. Having a split-second blip on the radar. And the guy's like, mm-hmm. And she's like, sidebar, and by a blip on the radar, she means she's just going to mention that for a second and throw it in there and move forward with her golden apology. And then I'm going to forgive social media. I was going to forgive social media for their insensitivity and for how I am and where I'm at and who they have depicted me as. And forgive them for that. Then I was going to forgive the judge for making me pro se and kicking me while I was down, and basically that's what it is. Then I was going to write about the detectives and their trickery and why they didn't take and it gets a little creepy here, the detectives and their trickery and coercion and why they didn't take the bloody pillow or butcher knife or garden claw or any of that. Sidebar, butcher knife, garden claw? So I'm forgiving them for that. And then the prosecutor, I was going to forgive him for his errors and causing confusion and dysfunction to the jury, which equaled them giving the sentence that they did. So I was going to forgive him for that. And then the jury, I was going to forgive the jury for not understanding. Oh, they understood, especially juror number 3. For being hungry and away from their families for 2 weeks and making a brash decision. I forgive them for that. And I understand. Being away from their families for 2 weeks and everything. So I forgive them for that. And then I was going to forgive myself for not standing up for myself, for not distancing myself, for, not standing up for myself, not fighting back, not doing any of that sooner. So I don't know if that's too much or if it's going out of my boundaries. And then he cuts her off. Well, I don't know. And she's cutting him off and they're battling right now. They're talking over each other. He's like, well, long as it's done in a way, where it's condescending. It's smart ass. It's condescending. Oh, well, what you can do is like prioritize, put them in order. That way, the ones that you do want, you can get out. And just in case he does cut you off, Okay, yes, and thank you for your feedback. Yeah, but first off, it's not what you think it is. Well, maybe after I read it to you. Later, if you have 15 minutes, I'd like to read it to you. Okay, yeah, okay. But my thing is, it's a professional fuck you. A professional fuck you. Yeah. But I don't want him to cut me off and say, what is the relevance of this to your case? This is my case. It is my case. Like everyone on the face of the planet knows, this is my case. My entire every detail that I'm giving to you is my case. This is my case, not just specific details. Specific case details, because that's how I got to that point. So there's a lot that's involved in my case, which is what I'm trying to let the judge know. And I'm forgiving everybody. I was going to make another copy and hand deliver it to him in the courtroom or mail it to him. What do you think about that? I mean, that's excellent. I mean, I was going to have this said one way or another. Sidebar, she's saying Judge Kranick is going to hear her one way or the other. So I need you to tell me, because I didn't want to bother Lana because it's too early, but so what? Just tell me, is this wrong? Is this supposed to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, I love George, tear, 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 tear? I mean, is that what it's supposed to be? And is that what everyone is expecting me to say? Well, I just don't know how much impact it's going to have. I personally think it's not going to have much of an impact on his sentencing. Well, I don't know. Sarah just cuts him off. She's not even responding or listening to him. Okay, so one of the things I was thinking was, another thing I was concerned about, it's like, okay, I'm telling you this straightforward, like right straight blank between the eyes. That's what Lana said. So my thing is, though, as in regards to relevancy, my thing is, though, one of them, I'm forgiving Bankowitz and Bish-ass Cashman for taking $46,000 of precious money from the JCS. Or the JAC, you know what I mean. Forgive them for taking money from indigent people such as myself. Forgive them. And so I don't want him to say, what relevancy does that have with anything? Sidebar, maybe that's the edited version we were talking about. Sarah wanted to put the JAC on blast during her apology to the Torres family. Well, to the court. It's part of my case. It's what I've had to live through. Well, did they take $46,000 out from specifically your case? Yes. So all of them went and boo-hoo to the justice system, somebody at the justice system, and they had a meeting about me, all about me, and supposedly how monstrous and terrible I am, and supposedly they all asked for $15,000. And Bish-ass Cashman asked for $16,108. It's all the shit that they lied about. So in my opinion, they robbed me of precious money that, I'm sorry, she says, they robbed me of my precious dollars. Oh, Sarah. Shout out to you guys. So she just says, I'll just read it to you at 1:00. Okay. All right. Okay. And they exchange goodbyes. She says, I hope you have a super day. Okay. Thank you. I'm not sure if I mentioned earlier, she's speaking to someone named Michael. I think Tanika said Michael was related to the Delpines. But wait, there's more. The channel goes on to continue and let everyone know there's a Patreon with a 78-page letter, Sarah's journal, her life story. So, we'll have to dig into that. We'll definitely dive into that. There's a preview of the 78-page letter. It's all about Sarah and George's first date. She's explaining it herself from her own mouth. I'm so excited. I love talking true crime with you guys, especially when it comes to Sarah. We're all Booneaholics. Let's get into this letter. Shout out to Hear Me Out, Suma, Tanika, Classified Crime, and you guys. We are still docket watching. Judge Jackson, where are you? However, we'll just pillage and keep busy. Please, thank you, Your Honor. Now, this call says that it's AI generated, so you take that as you will. First time George hit me, we met at Devaney's to have some drinks, talk, get to know each other, then come back to my place, Brian's, to continue. Continue what? In parentheses, he would tell me about his family, kids, growing up, divorces. We eventually had sex. Very rough and weird. And he kept trying to turn me over, saying he was going to F me in the A. I want that. I'm going to do that to you. I repeatedly said no and stop, trying to wriggle away from and turn around. I remember him pulling, grabbing me, and how hard it was. Me gritting my teeth. Him telling me to, quote, get over here. Just take it. I broke free, cooled him off some. We got dressed, smoked cigarettes, and had a drink. He kept telling me going to happen eventually and started to call me names. Dumb bitch. See you next Tuesday. WHORE. Garden tool. I asked him to leave, made me sit next to him on couch, yelling at me, then punched me. Sidebar, and this is the first date, remember that. Punched me in the side of the head so hard I fell between the couch and table where he couldn't get to me. He got up.
Know that.
I don't. ...
and it ends there. That would conclude the first page to the 77-page journal for Sarah's life story. Let's read that again. First time George hit me, we met at Devaney's. Devaney's is a bar in Winter Park, Florida. I'll insert a photo if I remember. We met at Devaney's to have some drinks, talk, get to know each other, then come back to my house, in parentheses, Brian's, to continue. Would tell me about his family, kids, growing up, divorce. We eventually had sex. Very rough, weird, uncomfortable. And he kept trying to turn me over, saying he was going to F me in the A. I want that. I'm going to do that to you. I repeatedly said no. I'm so sorry. It just sounds unbelievable. I repeatedly said no and stop, trying to wriggle away from and turn around. I remember him pulling, grabbing me, and how hard it was. Me gritting my teeth. Him telling me to, quote, get over here and just take it. I broke free, cooled him off some. We got dressed and smoked cigarettes and had a drink. He kept telling me going to happen eventually and started to call me names. Dumb bitch. See you next Tuesday. Garden tool. I asked him to leave, made me sit next to him on couch, yelling at me, then punched me in the side of the head so hard I fell between the couch and table where he couldn't reach me. Okay. Now, how many of you believe, okay, first date, you're not calling the police? We see how many times police were called futuristically. You mean to tell me you meet a nice guy at the bar, you take him home on the first night, tisk tisk, you take him to your husband's home, actually, have this wild interaction, and you claim you don't call the authorities or police? You call them for a second date? You freak, you. I wonder, did she have her helmet on? Do you think Sarah was wearing her helmet during this altercation?